Howdy, all you delicious people. I'm here to review Duel from 1971. So, quite often recently, I've had to go on and do a lot of strategic reviews lately, and I finally wanted to just go on and take a day and just watch something that was simple and just not have to go on and think about like oh, like what will this get me, like how well would it do, da, 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 da. None of that garbage, none of that noise. Like today, like I knew that this movie was probably not going to go on and rationally uh be the treasure trove of a piece of content, but like regardless, I wanted to watch this movie for the first time because I'd never really seen it before, as well as also uh, I just wanted to go on and just watch something simple and watch like a road trip kind of film, and also just watch a movie that just felt interesting enough. And Duel was that in a lot of ways. So, with that said, we have Duel. Duel is, be, Duel is to be a movie about a guy named David, who we come to find in a road trip is to seemingly make some sacrifices. David makes a sacrifice to his job to do this whole road trip of a thing that eventually he goes on and regrets, I'm sure. He goes on to not be home because he is to have to go on and do this aspect of his job, which eventually he will not be able to do because of what is to happen to him during this road trip. And then David is to further sacrifice the one thing that is to have gotten him here through this whole entire journey. And honestly, I would want to just say that that is to go on and be his own mind. He is to lose his mind, everybody. No, there is a loss that happens uh, by the tail end of the film. But so, really, like, how I would have thought that this could have been interesting to have approached this movie is had, like, the whole truck thing been, like, a ghost that maybe only David has seen. And, like, that would have been really interesting. Or maybe this whole thing with David could have been broken down as like this could have all been in his mind because of all the stresses of his life. And that could have been fun and that could have been interesting, but no, like it just seems that like they legitimately went into the normal fashion of just uh like a guy was bored one day and just wanted to F with somebody and really just like went off the way that they did. So before, of course, there was movies like Jeepers Creepers and Joyride. There was to be Duel. Really going on and having this movie like eventually have us compare it to somewhere down the line with so many others. And funny enough, I would probably have to go on and compare this movie to so many films without even seeing it. It's kind of funny. Because I had seen some like visuals of this film, but I'd never actually fully seen it before in my life. So I'm now actually to say that, hey guys, I've finally seen a film for once that I compared it to so often to other things. But so at some point, I should probably go on and actually fully see like films like Easy Rider also. Even though I'm not much of like a motorcycle kind of guy, but like logically, like I think Easy Rider could be a movie that I feel will be justified on the channel to check out and see or whatever. But anyways, but it doesn't have like a suspense angle. It's just some road trip thing, and who knows how interesting that's really going to be. But so regardless, so this opinion of this movie is going to be very biased because this was a movie that I honestly right now currently second scoring I just really just needed. I just needed something simplistic. I just needed to just have a movie where I could kind of take my brain off to the side because I've been just kind of nonstop, just like I haven't been sleeping. I haven't been uh, like not having my brain just shut off because I've just been consistently just like, oh my god, what little tiny thing can I do to adjust and tweak and whatever on the channel. And it's just kind of just been nonstop, just uh, like just channel, like yeah, it's just going on far too long. Um, with me just needing a freaking break. So, uh, Duel, I think, is a like I will say like solid okay film because I actually knew what I was getting into with this movie. There are some times where I'm like, I don't know what I'm really getting into a film, but hey, let's check this title out. Let's see what it is. And that really skews my opinion. So, for anybody probably going on and saying that Duel is like the worst movie or a horrible movie or whatever, and they don't understand my opinion, I'm going on and extending why I was to go on and say how I felt about the movie the way I did. So, and again, this opinion of this movie is to be for right here the second it's recording. But like I'm sure like there are more interesting later down the road trip movies that would go on and be better than Duel, let's just say that. Like Joyride I'm sure is probably about equally as exciting as well as also having a lot more story I feel than Duel has. And also just does more with its movie with like the two guys need to go on and go into a restaurant uh, without any clothes on because of course the villain of the story wants them to go on and do so. And so but going into Duel, like it's not all just about David going on and driving on the road and facing off against this guy. There are many pit stops within this movie also that is to have David have this inner monologue in his head, as well as also there are certain times where he is having just kind of talking points against this would be trucker, like going on and like oh you want to play like you want to play this game, all right, okay, let's play. And so it's also just really interesting how like David, no matter what he does, like he doesn't feel that he can go on and escape this situation. And we also have David that is just kind of like, how is it possible that he cannot outrun uh, this whole trucker or truck? And yeah, so it just kind of the interesting. And then there's also like when he's in the diner, how he's talking about like for 20-25 minutes like he's in the jungle and like he's going on and he's just kind of questioning like if any number of any of these guys in this cafe is to logically be that trucker guy because he had gone on and quite seen some boots of this guy, and they're like, okay, he's trying to put the pieces together and figure this out. And so yeah, so like there is more going on here than just a simple just on the road film. So with that said, it's also kind of rather interesting that like we have a movie that is to mostly be taking place on the road, and consistently David is to think that he should go on and call the police as if they can really go on and actually do anything, because like how can you consistently go on and try and find a moving object with the police? Like that just seems like a. And then also I don't think David really divulges like where exactly he's at. And you know what, if anything, I think David should have just driven to the police station, because the truck guy would have followed him there. But that's just me just trying to being creatively a writer to just figure out how to get our character out of this situation. So, speaking of situation, I think it's about that time to move our situation into full on spoilers, because I do realize that this movie is only like a good like hour and 20 some odd minutes. So, I think it's about that time to just break down this movie into spoiler territory. Let me know in the comments below your favorite car chase movie. Maybe it's to be Fast and Furious, or maybe it is to be Joyride or Jeepers Creepers or some other movie that it seems to have some. Maybe it's God, what is it? The Maximum Overdrive, the Emilio Estevez film. That's to be the Stephen King movie, because it has trucks and cars and situations of that nature. Or maybe you just like Steve McQueen movies or something. I don't know. Maybe just let me know in the comments below what is to be your favorite car film. Maybe you like Disney cars. Who knows? But let me know in the comments below what is to be your favorite car film, because why not? Just slam it down there in the comments below. But anyway, maybe you love Duel. Maybe Duel is your favorite movie. But anyways, so whatever. Logically, just whatever you want to put down on there is great. So, with that said, let's get into spoiler territory. Normally I'd probably have like a cast list, but there's a just David. There's really just David. Everybody else is just like gas station attendant and like his wife, and like there's very a thin amount uh of stuff on here. Like I think the only thing that I really have is maybe just like some side stuff that I kind of screen grabbed from the movie, because of course I don't remember Steve's name. But anyways, so with that said, I'm going to go on and get to that. So I will probably just go on and just quickly adjust here. Hopefully I can just get this out quickly so we can just go into spoiler time. Yeah, it seems like we're going to go into there. Great. So I think it's about that time, and again, to of course go into spoiler time. Spoiler time, it's about that time. I'm going to spoil this movie. Let me know in the comments below. Whatever. Just say the word "meh." And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Like somebody said a thing. Because at this point, every single one of these videos could probably use a comment or a like or a something. But like, you don't have to do any of that stuff. Just your view is good enough. Really, like I appreciate it, because logically, I wasn't probably gonna think that this movie or was gonna garner to get views upon this thing. I was just to do it because I just wanted to make a video this day. So go out of your way to just do what you're already doing right now, which is to just watch this thing. Um, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Just watch this and just call it a day. It's okay. Like I don't blame you. But anyways, so let's get into full on spoilers, everybody. So also this, just because this guy has this mustache, like he immediately reminds me of like Burt Reynolds, but he's not Burt Reynolds. But if you want to see, just look at him. Like he looks like Burt Reynolds. Like I was like Smokey and the Bandit and whatever have you. But again, like this guy's in Burt Reynolds. But again, he just looks so much like him. Maybe he is Burt Reynolds. Maybe he's Burt Reynolds' brother. I don't know. I didn't really look at the cast list. His name is not Reynolds. His name is Dennis Weaver. Well, I guess we debunked that. Man, if only his name could have been Reynolds. Anyways, moving on. So at the very beginning of this movie, we have this movie being carried into the intro of credits via this radio, and I'm like, man, like at least like that, I guess, could be just an interesting way to open up a film. Because oftentimes, like how movies open up is just like plopping a bunch of like, hey, this is a town, this is a city, like, hey, let's show these monuments, and that like, I think that that is just honestly just so boring of a way to just start up a film. Like, if anything, I think it's a lot better if you start up a film by going into like a chase scene that you're like, okay, what the heck is going on? And then the person is like, well, I bet you're really confused and you're wondering how I got here. And then they like just start the whole like story from the beginning. And like, I like those kind of films, even though also you're gonna come right back to the point where like the movie was at the very beginning, and so you're kind of seeing it done again. Like, I can only go on and hate those kind of things, but it kind of depends on the circumstance. Um, but hey, like if this movie went on and did it, I don't think I would have complaints. At least it would have been an interesting opener. So we have David, and so he's on the road, and so at some point he goes on and sees this massive brown semi truck uh with this flammable gas tanker thing that is to be spewing out pollution, and we have David who's like, like that's some pollution for you. So David, because of just like him not being able to see all that well because all of the stuff that's coming from this truck, he tries to pass it, and then coinkedinkly enough, the truck then tries to go on and pass him. And so David is like, okay, okay, like, but he kind of gets ticked off when the truck does pass him, because like the truck just like flies on by, and so David is like, oh, okay, all right, well, so, and then I think David again like goes for like one more pass. So David goes on and stops by this gas station. And honestly, for me, like, I feel that this gas station was used in another movie. I had gone on and seen the Elvira Mistress of the Dark, I think, film. And I think the exact same gas station was used. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the exact same gas station. So there's this gas station attendant that's like wiping uh, David's car up and going on and checking his engine and realizing that he has a radiator hose that he eventually needs to go on and replace. And David's like, yeah, I get that, but I'm not going to do that right now. So the brown truck passes by David's car and stops to get gas also. So David is wanting to go on and get a good look at this guy, but he never will. Because this guy will never really get out of his vehicle. And so the only thing that I think David could have actually seen is the trucker's boots. And so David goes on and he drives by, and after going through this whole gas station thing. Oh, he also had to call his wife via the gas station. So let me go on and cover that. So David goes on and calls his wife. And I think like there's a gas station and then there's also this laundromat. I think he calls his wife via the laundromat. So Miss Man answers, and so David is to go on and talk about the night before. And Mrs. Man is like, you know what, I don't really want to talk about it. And David's like I know what you would have wanted me to do. You would have wanted me to deck that guy. It's like, wait a minute, there's a fight going on, or there should have been a fight going on for what? And so Miss Man divulges that like there was a man who is trying to take advantage of Miss Man. Um, it sounds so weird to say Miss Man. Um, and like try to uh how can I say this without avoiding the actual word of what she uses, because I don't like to say that word. Um, let's just say this guy was to try and go on and take sexual advances to Miss Man, and so I'm like, oh, okay, all right, so like David probably should have gone on and stepped up, but he didn't. He should have said something, and he probably didn't. And so we don't know. Like we're kind of speculating at this point right now what really broke down and really happened because they don't really fully go into it. So, but if anything, also like David is talking about why he's on this road trip and he's to go on and need this certain account for his job, and that eventually he's also to try and make it home because there's a relative that is there. So just David is just needing to just like, hey, like let's get this road trip over with so David can go on and go about getting back home. So so David goes back on the road. And so here is where we go on to, I think here's where we have like the waving thing going on, where David's car is up front and then the brown truck is behind him. So David's like, okay, yeah, just go ahead and just pass me. Like F it, just like so the truck passes David and then it doesn't bother to go fast enough. And so now David's a little upset. He's just kind of like, wait a minute, like I gave you the road. Like I showed you the world. I can show you the world. I gave you everything. I gave you like free reign, and you're just like, oh no no no, like that's not good enough for me. Like I'm gonna just figure out a way to just slow my ASS down to uh just milk this for all it's worth. Because I just enjoy the road. So David's now going on. I'm like, well, okay, F it. I guess I'm just gonna have to pass this guy. And so I think is here where we also have like the truck that is to try to wave uh Dave over. So Dave goes on and he tries to get in the passing lane, and there's all of a sudden a car there, and then David swerves out of the way. He's like, "Oh my god, this guy tried to freaking kill me! What the fuck?" So David tries to go on and tries to pass this truck, and I think here is where like David goes onto this dirt road, and so he takes this back road that has all this dirt on it, and so he goes on into this dirt road to drive fast enough to then try and get ahead of this car, and he's like, "Ha ha, yeah, I did it." And so uh he does it, but then goes on and then smacks his way into these fences, and now he has to go on and go to this Chuck's Cafe because there's a guy that's kind of looking at David. It's like, well, yeah, I think you have some whiplash, and he's like, yeah, I think I do. So David goes into Chuck's Cafe, and the brown truck also makes its way there, and David goes to the bathroom and is to sit at the diner, make an order of a cheese sandwich, a Swiss cheese sandwich, and is to be pondering who could it be that is to have been the trucker, because there are so many people in this place and they all have the same brown boots. And so David, after going on to the bathroom and talking about how he's in the jungle and like he's all in his head and he's rattling off all of this stuff, and he's contemplating who he's gonna like approach and start talking to like apologize or just be like, hey man, like let's knock this off, like let's finally just like let bygones be bygones because I gotta get home, buddy. So Dave is trying to like craftingly like put this together of how he's gonna go on and like approach these people. And so because he knows that one of them is the guy, so David finally sees that there's one guy just off in the corner, just eating alone by himself. He's like, well, maybe that could be the guy. So David approaches this guy and is like, you know what? Like, can we just finally knock this all off? And the guy's like, excuse me? Excuse me? Huh? What? Like, what are you talking about? And so David further and further goes on and talks about what had happened, and the guy doesn't really understand. And so David is like, well, hey, would you want me to call the police? Like, I'll call the police. I'll do that if like that'll get you off my back. And so the two of them start shoving, and then so shoving leads to like, okay, well now they're fighting, and so the restaurant owner goes on to like kind of separate the two of them. And like the owner is like, hey man, I'll give you like a beer or a sandwich or something, like if you just like stop all this. And so the guy who is getting like seemingly attacked by David, he leaves, and come to find out like that's not the guy. It's some guy who's driving some other truck. So David is like, shit, like that wasn't the guy. Well, and David's like, well, who could it have been? So the owner is telling David, it's like, you know what, I think you should leave. So David does go on and do so. So David goes on to kind of drive off here, and he ends up finding this school bus, and he ends up helping or tries to help the school bus to try to get some traction going because the bus was having problems starting. Before David left, the brown truck had also left before him. So David was thinking, it's like, well, hey, why didn't this semi actually help you? Because it's a much bigger rig. And so, funny enough, when David is trying to go on and trying to help this bus, he ends up getting stuck onto the bus. And now they're trying to jiggle the car away from this bus. And then the then brown truck appears, and like all the kids are kind of outside the bus. They're all just kind of just jumping and hopping around. And David's like, "Hey, get back in the bus. Get back in the bus. You don't know like how dangerous this guy is." And so David is now scrambling to get his car detached from this bus, and then he decides shortly thereafter to just drive off because there's nothing he can really do. And so as David is to start to drive off, the brown truck is to go on and help this bus. And then David is like, "Oh, you piece of like, you did the good thing. Like, you're the bad guy, but you did the good thing." And so at this point, we see eventually that David is going to see this brown truck get ahead of him. And when it gets ahead of him, it basically like stops him from making any real progress. And so David at one point is to like even get out of his car to think that he can run to get to the truck, and then the truck drives off, but then it stops. And so David is just trying to put the pieces together of what he can do to just like he can't get past this car, he can't figure out a way to like jump into the truck and try to get this guy. And so David is then turning to another car in the road, this old couple, this elderly couple, my bad. And he is going on and telling him like, "Hey, like, can you call the police when you get to town or get to the next stop? Like, this car is dangerous, and he's like been chasing after me." And so the couple is like, I don't think I want anything to do with this," and like, and they're like driving away. They're like, "Meh, f that guy." Um, so David figures out that he's like, what, I'm just gonna take my car and then just try as fast as possible to just figure out a way to just maneuver past this truck, and he does go on and do so. So David decides to go to this like Snake-a-rama place, and I think that is to also be like a combination of like gas station, because David ends up asking this woman for ethyl, which is to be the gas. And then also when David was in that gas station earlier, um David asks for Ethel, and the guy made a whole joke about it. Like, I hope Ethel won't mind. Whatever. So we're at this Snake-a-rama joint, and so David is at this phone booth trying to make this phone call, and he's calling the police. And he has this like weird, goofy, like 4-digit phone number, like 0981 or something. It's something like that. Or 098, or maybe it's 9821. It's some goofy number like that. But it started with a 9, I think. So regardless, it doesn't really matter. So David is in this phone booth thinking he's safe, thinking that like there's nothing that can get him in the phone booth, right? And all of a sudden, like we're watching like as if this is like Matrix, where Trinity ends up getting to the phone booth, and then she goes on and puts her hand on the phone booth as she's getting this phone call, and like she goes out of the Matrix, and then the suit guy just bashed through the phone booth, and like, well, I guess we didn't get her. Oh, that sucks. So David is realizing that there's a truck a coming, to ram this phone booth, so he quickly gets out of it. And then all of a sudden, this truck like backs up and just continues to bash through all these snake cages. And so this snake woman is like, "Oh my god, my snakes, my snakes!" Oh, and so through all of this carnage, David is have to like kind of like dodge all these snakes that are coming out of these cages, and he has this like tarantula or spider that is on his leg, and he kind of just bats it off. David's just going banana trying to like have to deal with all of this. So after David freaking gets away and gets ahead of this truck, and like he parks his truck off to the side so the truck doesn't see him as it passes by. David's like, you know what, I'm giving up at this point. Like, I'm just gonna go on and like for like a very long time let this truck just have the road. Like, hopefully he forgets all about me. I'll give him an hour and I will just let bygones be bygones, let these ships pass in between the night, and hope that he forgets about me completely. And you would think that would be how we're gonna go about this, right? So David is to fall asleep while he's just waiting it out. And all of a sudden, the thing that scares him awake is this sound, thinking that it's the truck coming to get him. And instead, it's just this train going by, and he's like, "Oh, thank God!" Oof. Like, what was I so scared about? So David decides, like, you know what? It's probably about like long enough. Like, how would I just start driving? So, so David goes on and starts driving along to then notice that the truck had been waiting for him. And so here's the point where I'm probably getting a little confused about uh, like where we're at, because like I can go on and say that like that whole scene where like the truck was stopping David from getting any part of the road, like I can say that that happens here, but then also I can think that it probably happens earlier. So either way, I said that scene, but I don't know perfectly where it all aligns. So regardless, I said a scene that probably was an earlier part of the movie, and I'm just trying to figure this all out. So as David is to consistently end up facing off against Brown Truck, we have David just putting pedal to the metal, and this truck consistently goes on and smashes into the back of David, and consistently is like, no matter what speed David is going into, 70s and 80s and whatever. And then also when he was at the cafe, he's like, man, like I could probably go 70 or 80, but like whenever I'm just to not really think about it, like my the foot on the pedal just kind of slightly comes off. And so David continues to drive, and he eventually goes on to like crash his car into this mountain, this huge rock of thing. And because like he is sliding all over the goddamn place. He's sliding into these wood fences and he's bashing every little thing of it. And like he is flinging all over the place. There's to be, I think, this one cab that like David kind of slides right next to and then drives off, and then the truck just kind of maneuvers, and then David's like, God dang, like how is it that this guy is just maneuvering through all this where I am struggling at the speed that I'm going? So David gets to this mountain, and so David starts to realize that like he's having problems with his car, that his radiator hose is to stop working, and the temperature is to start to rise on his car, saying that it's overheating, because that's what a temperature means. As if I know anything about freaking cars whatsoever, I don't. But anyways, so really, like we have to realize that David is now riding on fumes at this point, but he still has to go on and drive as fast as he can because this truck is behind, is like basically just chasing after him. So David has to get to a point where he's like, you know what, enough is enough. Like it's time to finally play some chicken because this truck is just never going to stop, and David has to. Like David is going to eventually run out of car. So David plays chicken with this truck, and he goes on and rams into the truck via just putting this little briefcase thing at the gas pedal, and he jumps out of the car. And so the car smashes into the truck goes off of this cliff, and the two vehicles crash and fall and explode. And so that is really just the tail end of this movie where David is just kind of looking on at the carnage, and really that's just the way that this movie fizzles out and ends. With that said, I probably should have gone on and stated a lot more with just really just what little dialogue there was in this movie. But also, I just wanted the fast pace of just getting this one done. So, like, this is just gonna be as good as it gets. There's sometimes where, like, I have really every nitty gritty, whatever detail, and then there's just this kind of one where I just kind of wung it, and here's what we are, or here's where we are. Um, I know I had gone on and said quite a bit of movies that eventually I still haven't reviewed yet, but there is also just a lot of stuff that I keep finding, and I'm like, maybe this will be the one that will really change the channel. And so I put a wrench to like a lot of stuff that I'm like, man, I already had this set up, and I already had this whole thing put together, but this new thing just came into my brain today, and so like this is the new project that I want to put. Yeah, so that's what happened. That's what's going on every single day. Is that like I will have like 10 movies like lined up to eventually be reviewed and go out because I've already made the thumbnails, I've already made the background stuff, like, and then all of a sudden via whatever day it is, like I will go on and legit like just be like, well, what about this other movie? And then I'll just go down this whole rabbit hole of like, okay, uh let's make a thumbnail of this movie, let's make a background of this movie, and let's get that all done, and then like that will be our future project, that'll be a future review. Um and those things tend to take probably way more time than they probably actually should, because I really want to be an artist when it comes down to a lot of this stuff. But then eventually, when looking at a lot of the stuff that I end up propping up here, I'm like, yeah, like I wasn't satisfied by it. I wasn't satisfied by the thumbnail. I wasn't satisfied by this, and eventually I will probably have to go on and just rejigger a lot of things, to eventually have it either bizarrely be worth it, or to just be a thing I did one day. But uh, really, so uh, one of the random project that just came out of my mind today was a movie called Species. That could be a thing that I might go on and go into. So I'm looking at that movie to be a future project. Uh, Also, besides that, I'm going to try and really find probably some bizarre movies that probably no one will be like, "What the f is this?" Uh, there is a movie called Victim that I'm kind of kicking around watching today and reviewing today because of how short this video is. And then also, uh, that movie is only like an hour in length, so I'm like, God dang, like this is like something perfect. Like, hopefully, I can go on and review this movie and get it done so quickly and just have another video to go out for today, but like it probably will also may be a thing that I might get done tomorrow. But um, it all depends on how I feel that day because there's certain other projects that I also like that are actually fully done. That all I need to do is just watch the movie and then get my collective thoughts and how I'm going to review that. Like there's certain stuff that I've already technically reviewed on this channel, but I want to go on and redo it because they're going to be just kind of double things. And the Cheryl Stone movie, Sliver, is going to be one of those projects that I'm going to go on and do because I find that movie to be really entertaining for whatever goofy reason. So that'll be a future project on this channel. There's like again, there's like I probably should not go on and admit how many projects that I've just kind of like just left um, on the cutting room floor to eventually be done. And I've made whole thumbnails of them, I've made whole backgrounds of them, and then I just let them sit. And because I just don't trust myself to do them and then have them turn out well. So that's the saddest thing about this channel is just like I don't know what I'm doing at certain points to just like because like I have a feeling about certain films and I have a feeling about certain shows and stuff like that. Um, because I've watched so many things at this point, but like and like there's a bunch of just random stuff that just does well bizarrely on this channel and like for right now the six is recording this channel is doing like progress, but I don't know where it's coming from. Uh, but it seems that people are consistently viewing this stuff, and like I really appreciate people going on and doing that because that means a lot to me. Uh, that actually just has me feel good if just I just see one view, and then I'm like, wow, okay, great. Like it was all worth it then. It was all worth it to do this. It was all worth it to talk about this movie that I was like, huh, yeah, like this one was the good one. This one was the worth it one. This is the one where I didn't have some strategy or some agenda to review because I thought it was like, well, like there's a lot of just skin in this movie, or there's to have me probably go on and bash this film because obviously, like that's probably the reason why I tended to just start to avoid new releases upon this channel because I was like, no, it doesn't feel worth it anymore to do new releases. Because I feel that like there's so much negativity on new release films. Like none of the movies really all that positive. So like that was my real true avoidance of wanting to do new releases. I just wanted to go into classic movies and cult classic ones and be able to just be having an enjoyment of all of those things and then also just finally get to see a lot of stuff that I've never seen before in my life. So goal achieved there. Uh Also on a funny side note, if you were to go on and run on a treadmill maybe you should go on and not fall off of it. I did that today. I freaking hurt my finger because I ended up falling backwards on the treadmill, and like I ended up just kind of like having to like figure out a way to just get off the treadmill. And yeah, I ended up just kind of losing a little bit of skin on my finger because of that. Stupid me, right? Like, oh well, like happens. Um, but luckily I didn't get injured doing that, so that's a good thing. Um, yeah. So hopefully things are yeah, because I've throughout the days like I have a lot of shit to do. Uh, every single day. People won't think I do, but like I have a lot of shit to do. And then also like every single day I'm trying to do an hour and a half cardio, and I'm like, God, like so I have a lot of this to do, and I have an hour and a half cardio, then I gotta watch like a maybe 2 hour movie, and then I gotta go on and review it, and hopefully that won't take like hours to do, and then I can figure out when I can sleep. So, uh, so yeah, so uh, fortunately, it's just an hour and a half cardio because man, I remember when I would go on and lift weights, that took way too long. That took way too long in one day. Um, to where like I really like couldn't do videos every day. Like I was like, well, maybe I can do a video like every other day, and then I would just be so exhausted and just so tired, and then just so like, well, I just want to go on and do this, and I kept getting so focused on exercising that like really like the channel didn't matter. Like I was thinking like maybe I can do something uh with exercising and make that my thing, and then I was like, well, no, like where is that gonna go? Um, so I just went right back into doing YouTube reviews. So so here I am. I'm not gonna get buff, but hey, I'll do this stuff. So with that said, I'm gonna get the heck out of here because I know that I've just ranted after this video, and none of this will probably mean anything to anybody. But it meant something to me. So uh, just kind of always by the end of these videos, just kind of rattling off whatever comes to my mind instead of just going on and just like end here. So with that said, goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.